Welcome back to More Moss to the People. I am Asa Nilsson and I am your host. Today I have a dear friend of mine on, Sandy Stone, and I've known her since the early 2000s. And I'm bringing in the crew, man. I'm bringing in my old besties here because it makes me so happy to have, first of all, to have such beautiful relationships still in my life, to have such incredible souls that I know more people need to know about. And so I'm going to get to you in a minute, Sandy. First thing, I just want to say a little something that is also important to me. And that is I have started to ask some people for reviews of my podcast, because I've never really done that because I didn't know first how to do it. And I found out it's much more complicated than I even thought it was. But I have started to ask some people for rating and reviewing the podcast. And I have gotten one and I'd like to read it. So Sandy, if I could just take a minute of the time here to read what this person has said. Asa's search for truth, purpose, and freedom to be ourselves is radiated through her podcasts. She brings to light a view on various subjects that is real, vulnerable, captivating, and oftentimes humorous. So thank you so much, Fat Jingle, for that beautiful review. I really appreciate those beautiful sentiments, and it means a lot to me. And when people do rate or review on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify, it, for some reason, I don't know how it works, but it gets in front of more people. The movement will get in front of more people. So I think that's a super fantastic thing. And if you are willing to write a review after this episode, I would love it as well. So thank you so much. So Sandy, thank you for letting me take some of your time here. Hi. How are you today?
Good. I'm really good. How are you?
I am fantastic. Thank you. You see, I have a different background.
Are you happy to be in the U.S.?
God, you know I am. I took this show on the road. I will be here for 2 months. And I've got my whole new station set up here at my mom's place. And so I am in Ohio and you are in Cornelius, North Carolina.
Correct.
Yeah. Yes. So welcome to More Moss to the People. I want you, if you would, take a second here to introduce yourself and tell us who you are in the world today.
Well, who am I in the world today? It's not the same person I was yesterday. I can tell you that. It's constantly changing.
Good.
Let's see. I am Sandy Stone. I own a kitchen and bath design company here in the Lake Norman area called LKN Interiors. I also am a CrossFit coach because I think it's important to move our bodies. And I'm also a nutrition coach. So I help people get their nutrition in line and whatever their goals are, lose weight, gain muscle, all of those things. So it's basically macro based. So we do some tracking. The idea is not to do that forever, but be aware of what you're eating. So I stay pretty busy.
Yeah, half of the things you just said are completely foreign to me. So, but we'll get back to all that, because I think that it's really important, because like I said, I've known you since 2000. I moved to North Carolina in 2001, and I met you shortly thereafter when I was at Jade Ponovich's house. That's you. Yep. And I met there for the first time, and she was a previous guest as well. And when we met, we were at such different times in our life, and so much has happened inside of us as women, as human beings, and how we have grown, how we have evolved, and that we still choose today to have each other in our lives. And you have, in my opinion, you have grown so much as a human being, as far as you have evolved into like such a, I don't want to say grand dame, but you really are, you have become more fine-tuned in a lot of ways, but also you have started to listen into yourself.
My kids tell me I'm a hippie now.
A hippie. Okay. Good. Hey, whatever. If that means that you are who you are, what does that mean? What does that mean to you when they say that?
It means to me like I'm trying new things. I'm doing different things. And if it works, great, I'll stick with it. If it doesn't work, okay, I tried that, did that, and we're done. It's kind of thing. But you know, I realized that we have one life to live and we better live it well. Not to say that we may or may not come back at a later time, but I'm living this life right here, right now. and trying to stay in the moment. Instead of looking ahead, looking back with regrets or whatever, what's happening right here and now, and how can I maximize that? How can I feel good about it? How can I maybe help others feel good about it? So,
yeah. And you are so good about that. I mean, you've always had such a gift for helping and lifting others. I mean, ever since I've known you, you've done that. But this whole thing about living for the now, like living today and really like soaking it in, like these experiences and seeing the people around you and being a part of, not just a part of, you know, your community, but I mean, an active part of your community. And you have been now in the Cornelius area for a long time. And I think that, you know, you're doing this stuff with your body, your physical external body has changed tremendously since you have done so much work on your inside first. I mean, you've done the deep work first, right? The inside work. And then the outside work is kind of like an extension of self when you start really getting into recognizing and feeling into, wow, I really feel this actually feels good. This feels nice. It feels good to be powerful and feel like I'm making my own decisions. And so how did you get to that point in your life where you started to make decisions like that instead?
Well, I've always been into exercise. But I started CrossFit about 10 years ago. And I really liked it because it was a variety. Somebody else was doing the programming. All I had to do was show up and work my body really, really hard. It was a few years later that I found out nutrition is probably 80% of how we feel physically. So I started working on the nutrition, and then I became a nutrition coach. And then, of course, I wanted to help others as well, because it helped me feel so much better. And it was about 3 years ago, as you know, when I was going through my divorce and all of that, and you know my ex-husband very well, great guy. But 3 years ago, I was at a turning point. I didn't like who I was mentally, emotionally. And so I went down a journey. And my friend Bree really helped me with that. And I did my Akashic reading, and I know you've had a podcast about that.
Yeah.
It was, I was very lucky that the person who did that for me, even though she does it everywhere, was local. And we become really good friends, and she kept helping me. And I was diligent about doing the work after that. You know, the clearing work is what it's called. And I was diligent about that. You know, you have to do it for 21 days. And it's just reading a short page. But don't skip a day, because you got to start all over. And I remember waking up one night, it was like 11:45, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm not starting all over. And so I did it. And it really, for whatever reason, a big weight felt like it was lifted off my shoulders, and like, okay, I have a new life and I'm solo. And how do I make this work for me? How am I going to pay my bills? All that kind of stuff. And it's really an abundance mentality. You know, I was very lucky to have my house. I was very lucky to have the things that I have. But how do I improve upon that? How do I create more abundance? And it really is a mindset. You know, we all go through stuff that is not great, but it's how we look at it, I think, you know. And I really have put on those rose-colored glasses, because there's a lot of crap out there, and you can either go down that rabbit hole or say, hey, what's good about this? How can I improve this? That kind of stuff. So and every day is like a new gift. That's another thing. I wake up and I'm like, all right, you have this great bed, you have this great life, you have this house. So, and you have great friends. I have a huge social life. And I love it. You know, I do love my alone time, but I love my friends. And there are one of 50 that I can call today and say, hey, I need your help. And they would all come running. Everyone.
You better believe it. You better believe it, but you know what, Sandy, that is because you have maintained those relationships too. You know, for the person that's like, oh, you know, I expect people to be there for me. Well, you know, how are you also being there for you, and how are you being there for others? And what you said before was this abundance mindset, if you don't recognize what you have now, if you do not appreciate what you have now, you're never going to appreciate what you're getting later. So you have always been that person, even in your business, in your cabinetry business, and how when you were here in Sweden and we were talking about this, you love to surround yourself with good people, and you lift these people up, like these other business people. You're bringing people in, you're talking and reviewing and giving other people like tips. And, it's just, I love how that goes around, because that is such a beautiful way to be, I think. The more giving we are, the more we also happen to get. Yes,
it's energy.
It's
your
energy.
energy goes out to somebody else and makes them happier. Your energy comes back to me. You make me laugh. You make me happy. Therefore, I want to be around you more. And so that's energy. Money's energy. So it goes out. It comes back in. It's all energy, and it's all flowing. So my mindset is, well, let's make it the best energy we can to give out to people.
Yeah. So. Well, this is the difference. We've never had conversation. When I was living in North Carolina, we didn't have conversations like this. We were not, no, we were not.
Even though we walked every single morning.
Yes, we were walking, we were trudging out, rain or shine. We were out there with Sienna, your dog, God love her. And, this is how we have grown, because before I didn't kind of feel like I had anybody to talk to about my spiritual side. And I had a deep, deep spiritual yearning to have connection like that. And then I really didn't know who to talk to about it. I mean, I had some people, but now you have gone on this path of your own of self-discovery, right? And this is what I love about having beautiful people, beautiful conversations with this podcast. It gives me the opportunity to have gorgeous people like yourself on, so that others can say, wait a minute, well, she was married, she got a divorce, she's now found her own way, and she's happier than you've ever been. You're healthier you've ever been.
Exactly, but it's not for everybody. And I'm not saying everybody go out and be alone.
Yes, that's what you're saying. Everybody should get a divorce, is what you're saying.
No.
Sandy said.
But what I am saying is spending time alone, spending time in your crap, and realizing what it is you really want. If you ask me what it is I want, and I'm reading the book, Manifest the Life You Want. I'm reading it, I sat down and I looked around. I'm like, I can't the life I want.
You've created it.
For me, spending time alone, not having anybody else saying, well, you should do this, you should do this. It was, well, maybe I'll try this. Maybe I'll try that. Those were my decisions, and I had nobody else to blame, which was great. And I had nobody else talking in my ear, so that was the good thing. I think it's very important that we do spend some time alone, and get away from our spouse or whatever. I'm not saying divorce them. But you can fix it. But that was the best thing for me. And yes, does it get lonely sometimes? Yes, it does. But I can either sit and wallow in that, or say, hey, I'm alone. What am I going to do? How am I going to enjoy myself?
And knowing yourself and who you are also, instead of looking for that from an outside source, right? For getting who I am from you, husband, you're telling me who I am, or this is how I identify myself as a wife or mother or whatever. That's when we were together, you were talking about, gosh, more people really need to get to know themselves, being alone, and wherever you have a moment. And sometimes people don't have a moment like that. They don't get that luxury of maybe when you're in the shower or sitting on the toilet, whenever you have 5 seconds to actually connect with yourself and to come back to, who am I?
Right.
Who am I? I'm like, who am I? If all these things were to just kind of not go away, but just to be someplace else. And I had to look at myself at the end of the day, which we all do. And by the way, today is World Mental Health Day, October 10th, 2023. I want to say that, mental health, taking care of ourselves, whatever that looks like, it is imperative for our own health, body, mind, soul, period. We have to take care of ourselves. And to see you now today doing things that you want surrounding yourselves with the people, surrounding yourself with the people that you really want to, and you're meeting new people, having new adventures, new experiences, trying different kinds of work, and putting yourself out there, and you're coaching, and you've got an app. Tell me about your app. I want to hear about your app.
Oh, my app. It's I have an app, Fork and Fit, my nutrition business.
We will tag this in the show notes.
Basically, if you come on as a client, you have access to my app. We can message on there. We have a food tracker on there. That's where you track all your food. I can see what you're eating. So if you put it in,
you can see my chips again.
Oh yeah. I have one client. He's like, so I had a really bad day. I didn't put anything in. Or he goes, I only put in the good food. And I'm like, okay. So I go, how's that working for you? So,
yeah. It's like, who are you lying to?
You look great. So it's pretty all conclusive. It has like a consultation form you fill out. I can see all of that. I can figure out what your macros are, your proteins, carbs, and fats. I can figure
Is that what macros means? Is proteins, carbs, and fats? That's what that means.
We track our proteins, our carbs, and our fats. And the funny thing is, most people are not eating enough,
Yep.
Believe it or not.
I do believe that.
And so what happens is your body will hold on to that fat and say, hey, you're starving me. I'm not letting go. And then, yeah, that's where that vicious cycle. Oh, I'm going to cut back my calories. I'm going to cut back, carbs, all of that kind of stuff. So we look at everything you do, your activities. We take all of that into account when we're trying to figure out where you should be. And it's not perfect science, but it definitely helps. It helped me.
Yeah.
5 or 6 years ago to drop 20 pounds. So, and I know. Yeah.
20 pounds. Gosh, that's a lot of weight.
Yeah, on my frame. But, and then people would say, what happened to you? I'm like, I got my nutrition in order. So, that's kind of what it is. It's a Fork and Fit app. And I'm pretty proud of it. So, so I'm working on that.
See, it's terrific helping people like that.
And the funny thing is, we talked about time alone. My friends and people that know me would not believe that I'm a big advocate of meditating. And it takes all different kinds of forms for me. Yep. A lot of times I need to get outside every single day, like you do.
Yes.
And you go out and do your walk in the woods and everything. That was so much fun, by the way. But I'll go out and sit on my patio and just breathe for a little bit and just try to clear my mind. And I have monkey brain because things are going in and out all the time. But I go back to that breathing. And sometimes it's really quick. It could be something like 5 minutes. And then sometimes it's longer. I can spend an hour out there sometimes. And I'm like, wow. But to get out, get the sun, get grounded, basically.
Yes.
It's been very, very good for me. People don't understand how I can show up at the gym at 5 o'clock in the morning. They're like, how much coffee have you had? I'm like, oh, coffee. I need some.
They're like, wait, what? You can get up at this hour without coffee? Yeah, it's possible. It's possible when you like to jump out of bed in the morning, right? Because you're happy. You're happy. You're making choices that are making you happy.
I'm not an alarm snoozer either. I don't hit the snooze. I'm like, all right, let's go. So I'm ready.
You're doing it, Sandy.
I'm granted another day, and it's time to go.
But but I'm going to say, I think when someone has that in them, the respect and the honor of the day, the reason I believe that people get something like that is primarily based on loss, grief. We have experienced the loss of parents. You have lost both your mom and dad fairly recently, and you know what that means. And it's like, time is limited. And when we start to recognize, the older we get, we start to recognize that, man, I am so lucky. Right. I am so blessed right now to be able, you've got 2 children, you've got a stepson, beautiful stepson, and you've got grandchildren. I mean, we have so much to be thankful for, and even more coming our way, even more beautiful things coming our way.
Well, I came to visit you after I went hiking in the Dolomites, and I'm like, I am in this beautiful place and I am so lucky to be here. But I'm also, what we did every night, we did a check-in. And so
I love this.
You know, what's your number for the day? What's your word for the day? What are you grateful for? What are you looking forward to? I loved that every night, and it got deep. And one night I said, I am grateful to have a body that moves and that I can do this at quote unquote my age. And so that is one thing I'm extremely grateful for is my body and the fact that, yeah, I'm aging, but I'm fighting it. So.
You're fighting with it. I mean, it's not a fight. I mean, we cannot change, right? We cannot change the fact that thank God. I mean, if we're not aging, we're dead. So, I mean, the alternative is we're dead. So how then do we work with what we have in front of us to the best of our capabilities and knowledge? And the thing is, you have chosen to educate yourself. You choose to educate others. And I love that you also that you really help elderly people. Like, you help a lot of people because you see them. You're so nice to everybody. Like, you're not like making fun of them if they feel like they're overweight or they're not, I can't do that. Okay, well, let's think about this. How can we do some adjustments? You get the perfect personality for doing that kind of stuff.
There's a modification for everything. And just like we talked about, there's a modification on something as simple as a push-up. A lot of people do not think it's simple, and it's not, but there's modifications for that. You can do some form or fashion. If you can get up and walk, we got you. We can do something. And yes, as we get older, we can build muscle. We can keep that body. Because honestly, it's when we stop moving, we become frail. And that's where we, break hips and all that kind of stuff and have the knee surgeries.
That's when bad things happen, when we stop moving.
Exactly. And, the nutrition just falls right in line with that too. So, I'm a big advocate of not eating ultra processed food. So it's bad. It's garbage. So, but it's hard to get off of. So
but that you didn't know that before. That's new. You've learned that. Like, you've learned that you didn't grow up like that. I mean, our history did not give us this. We've learned this. I mean,
girl, I didn't grow. Coca-Colas every day as a kid.
Oh, yum. God. Oh,
yeah, know,
right. If I could have been so lucky, I would have had that.
But the funny thing is now, Oreos used to be my kryptonite, and now it tastes very chemically. It tastes like chemicals. So, it's just not my thing anymore. So
your palate has changed. Your palate has changed. Yes, thanks be to God. It's there are certain things that we can dictate over our lives, and how we choose to eat, how we choose to sleep, how we choose to live, the energy that we choose to surround ourselves with, the people. Tell me who your friends are, and I'll tell you who you are. If they're all out boozing and smoking pot and taking drugs all night long, and you're doing that too, then that's probably not going to be part of your solution. But this is also, I think, when you get older and we start realizing that, okay, my body, the repercussions of the choices, right? It gets a little harder to get up in the morning or to feel good about yourself and what is a better alternative. And this is what you have, and the fact that you share it with others and you help other people to improve their lives. That's what's so beautiful. And that's the more moss to the movement right there. That more moss to the people movement is doing your life your way, sharing it with others. If you do something that works really well for you, then lifting up others. I mean, that's what it's about. I mean, to me, that's what life is.
It's all a work in progress, right? Because nobody's perfect. Believe me, I don't have the perfect nutrition at all. Give me wedding cake. I will bury my face in that right now, or God forbid we go out for Mexican, which I love.
Oh, yum.
Bring me the chips because they're all mine. So, we got to know what our limitations are and what our triggers are, get that away from me, whatever. But again, like, I will indulge, if I had to eat perfect nutrition all the time, how boring would that be?
Right.
So
right.
I don't, but,
and it's not realistic.
It's not realistic. And that's what I tell people all the time, they're like, well, I kind of screwed up. And I'm like, no, you were living life. So, it's all good. But now you know how to get back on track.
Yep, that's right. And you even think about it. Right. The fact that you even think about it shows you're already doing better than you were. Progress, not perfection.
Exactly. And that's the same with exercising. Hey, I didn't exercise a lot while I was on that trip. Unless you call hiking exercising, which
I
it was.
would.
It
I
was.
would. Climbing mountains counts.
It was hard. So, but for me, not to pick up a barbell or pick up weights or whatever for 2 solid weeks, that's huge.
Yeah.
And I didn't. And I got back into it right when I got back home.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you know,
But you enjoyed yourself
oh
tremendously
my goodness, we had
on
so
your
much
beautiful
fun.
vacation.
Great people, spending time with you guys. It was
Mm.
amazing. Everybody was just so, so much fun. So, yeah,
We are the lucky ones, aren't we?
we are.
Yeah.
We are.
I mean, we're all lucky if we choose to see it and
All
whatever
right.
those experiences are for you, right?
Right.
If that happens to be, you go to somebody's house today and you have a cup of coffee with them, that's terrific. I mean,
Exactly.
that's what it's about. Community and
All
helping
about
one another.
experiences and being with the people. So,
Yes. Yeah.
mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
I'm just really proud of you. And I loved spending time with you now as 55+ year olds.
Don't tell my
I'm sorry.
boyfriend.
Oh my God. I'm not going to tell your boyfriend. Oh my goodness. I promise. All right, my sweets. Tell me, thank you for your time today. Do you have any last minute, anything that you would like to share? If there is one person listening today that needs to hear whatever you're about to say, I know they're going to get the message. I know it's going to sink in. And anything you want to share, anything.
So, what I love about people is I just find them extremely intriguing, everybody, because what makes you happy is not necessarily what makes me happy at this given time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So my thing is think about what it is that makes you happy and just do it. How little or how small, how little or how big it is, take that tiny little step to
Yep.
go towards it. Today, I had my first mountain biking lesson. I'm like, oh my word, I'm mountain biking now. So,
Why would you have a lesson? They have lessons?
girl, yeah, it's hard. So, um,
It
learning
sounds
how to
hard.
turn, learning how to brake properly, all this kind of stuff. What I wanted to do was not start any bad habits with it. So, and I got some bad habits to break, I guess, from us riding bikes or whatever as kids. But
Oh.
that it's something that I can do on my own. I don't need anybody else to be with me. So that makes me happy, that I can go out and exercise. I have a body that I can do that with. Whatever your limitations are, look over that, find those little things that make you happy. And usually they are just small things. It doesn't have to be anything major, and work towards that. I mean, working out makes me happy. Being with my friends make me happy. So I create a social life, that kind of stuff. So,
I think that's really important. The part of, when I was doing the coaching, the hardest thing for people to say to me was when I would ask them, what would make you happy? I don't know. What do you want? I don't know.
No.
Like, well, okay, what don't you want? We have to start there then.
Yes. That's the funny thing. People can't tell you what they want, but they can tell you what they don't want or they don't like.
Yeah. And that's a place to start. But I think that's the taking one step, because I think it's a natural thing as human beings that when we want something, we only think about the end, what it's going to look like then, but we don't think about what one thing I can do today. Maybe I'm going to go and, you bought a mountain bike and now you've taken a mountain bike lesson, right? That's one thing you can do today. And maybe tomorrow you go buy the headgear or whatever you have to to get on the bicycle.
Right.
I don't know.
What I don't want with that is to break any bones.
Oh no. Or break. I mean, yes, please, we don't need anything. No.
So I'm trying to learn the proper way to handle the bike and everything. So, if I am up on a mountain, I'll know how to handle it. So, yeah.
And then you're also going to end up teaching others too. I know how you are. I know who you are, because you'll be up on that mountaintop. You'll be making friends with somebody. You'll be like, oh, wait a second. Hold on. Wait, I can help you with that. I know you.
Going into this lesson, I was a little nervous. And then I took a breath and I said, this is exactly what people do when they come to a CrossFit class for the first time. And they like me helping the new people, because I'm like, you got this. You come to the old lady. I'll help you. So
the old lady.
If I can do it, you can do it.
Yeah.
And I've had a couple of people say, I want to do a pull-up. And I'm like, well, let's start on that progression. We're going to get there. So
Yeah.
little steps. It's the
Yeah.
little steps, but you're exactly right. People don't know what will make them happy, but they can tell you what they don't want and what doesn't make them happy. Okay, so let's get that off the list and let's start working towards that list of it. They may not know for a long time. It's a journey, right?
Yes, it is.
That's
It
part of the
really
fun.
is.
That's exactly what you said. It's not out here. It's not getting to the end result. It's part of the fun is getting there and finding out, exploring.
Yeah.
More or less. So yeah.
For all of our life. I mean, if it's how you do one thing is how you do most things, right? So if we think about that, really, like if we're afraid of this, what else are we afraid of? If we don't want to try that, what else are we not trying? So, you to me are living your life to your highest and best. And through that, you show and teach others. And that, my friend, I am thankful for. I'm thankful for you being my friend. Thankful for you being healthy and taking such good care of yourself and loving yourself so much.
Yeah. I think it's all the difference in having like a fixed mindset and a growth mindset too, right? I mean, just try it. Just go out and venture, and you probably are going to fail at it, but that's okay. Because that's the one thing I've learned throughout my working out career, all of that. I know that I'm not going to be perfect out of the gate, but the more I practice that and I hone that craft, the better I am. So practice makes perfect no matter what. So
it's like any training. And, this is something that I love. I heard this, years ago now. And what's the best thing that can happen? Not what's the worst thing that can happen? What's the worst thing that can happen? What's the best thing that can happen if I try something new today? What is the best thing? It's like, that's exciting. That's open. That's being in a receivership mode. And my girl, I know you are in your receivership mode, my friend. Yay. That's my Sandy. All right. Thank you for your time today. Thank you for taking a moment out of your day and for being who you are.
Of course. You're welcome.
I love you.
I love you more.
You take good care of yourself. I'll see you another time.
Okay. Sounds
good. Maybe we'll have you on again if you want.
Yes, I can do it.
Good. All right. Take care, sweetheart. Thank you for being here. Bye. Bye.